Putting in contacts for the first time can be super difficult. I know it was my first time putting in contacts. It took me maybe 30 minutes to put it in one eye. If you put contacts in the wrong way, it can lead to a lot of eye strain, pain, irritation, red eyes, and can lead to a lot of discomfort throughout the day. So I'll be teaching you guys how to put them in the right way. The first step is to wash your hands. Dirty hands can lead to super bad irritation in your eyes. I wouldn't recommend using scented soaps, like this one is eucalyptus. I would recommend using just a regular antibacterial non-scented soap so that your hands don't get that scent. It will also burn your eyes when you put it. Personally, I lather, grab the soap, and then since I have nails on, I take a further step and I put the soap in between the nails. And especially my pointer finger because you'll use that one a lot. Whichever one is your dominant hand, so if your left hand dominant, it'll be your left pointer finger. If your right hand dominant, it'll be your right pointer finger. I take more time with that finger because I know that's the method of touching my eyebrow. And I try to get all underneath the nails. And I always like to just do one more just to save my nails. And then of course, dry off your hands on a clean towel. Now, before we get started, if your hands are still a little damp, how most people's are after you wash your hands, I recommend washing them or drying them even further. I know the biggest thing for me when I started putting my contacts in was that I couldn't get it in my eyeball because the contact kept sticking. The contact kept sticking to my finger because my finger was the wettest thing when your eye should be the wettest thing it should stick to. So make sure that your hands are like completely dry. Things to keep close to you when you're putting them in for the first time or just all together. Of course, your contacts in your contact case. I always have extra contact solution right next to me, and of course a mirror. I like to use this mirror because I can go straight up to my eye when I'm putting them in for the first time. Before you even try to put it in your eyeball, the biggest thing that I want everyone to practice is using your other hand. So if you're dominant with your left hand, use your right hand. If you're dominant with your right hand like I am, I'm going to use my left hand and I'm going to pull my eyelid right by where my lashes are all the way up like this. And I'm going to use my middle finger and pull the bottom lid all the way down. You want where you blink, your eyeballs or your lids don't touch. Practice this hand motion for a while, get used to this position because you'll be doing that putting in your contacts, and also that's gonna be what saves you. When I put my contacts in for the first time, it was a lot of blinking, which obviously hurt. Couldn't get my contact in. So let's get into it now. Of course, I use my pointer finger and I pull the contact out. I also put in the palm of my hand, and with my pointer finger, since it's wet for me putting it in the contact solution, I like to dry it off again. And then I place this on my other pointer finger. And this is when you make sure that it's right side up, which you can tell it's right side up by the curve, and that there's no dust or particles in it because it will hurt your eye. For instance, there's a little dust particle, so I'm going to use the contact solution and clean it out. You can do this in your hand. You literally just pour some contact solution on it and make sure you get all those dust particles out. And then of course, I like to dry my hand again because like I said, the contact won't go in my eyeball unless my hands are completely dry. Now, of course, transfer it to your pointer finger or whichever dominant hand that you use. You pull your eyelid up, pull this one down, And I always recommend going to the side first and then placing the contact on the white part of your eyeball. Once it's placed, I always look at the contact. Once I look at it for a few seconds, I can finally close it and blink. Usually you can kind of like hear sound, which means that it's fully in. And then of course do the same thing for the left eye. Make sure that it's right side up in your other pointer finger. Once you know that it is, put in your dominant hand's pointer finger, move to the side, and place the contact on the white. Look at the contact and blink. Hopefully this was a good representation of how to put in contacts, and now you can do it yourself at home.